Earlier this week, Facebook changed its terms of service, the internet equivalent of having a cow. Facebook hoarding your content. Facebook has gone too far. Facebook, all your content belong to us forever. Protests ensue. Beware of Facebook's new terms of service. I'm done with Facebook. Interview with people against the new terms of service. Facebook and their TOS, Alice, this ain't Wonderland anymore. Big brother Facebook, who do your pictures belong to? Oh, how Facebook angers me. In other words, you're doing it wrong. So many have said. Not just on the blogs, but on Twitter, friend feed, YouTube, and in the mainstream as well. It's been a total storm. After an enormous groundswell on Facebook groups against the new terms of service, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg retreated and reverted back to the old set of terms. Why is this such a big deal? Let's break it down. When you go about your everyday life, some of the things you do leave a trace, like cell phone use, credit card purchases, and your presence around security cameras. Some things remain private, like your bank statements or the fact that you're wearing yesterday's socks. Public or private, the so-called data of our lives in real life is subject to laws and rights about freedom of information and privacy. This applies to our online lives as well. When you travel around the net, your service provider knows what web pages you visit by tracking your unique IP address. Not all of your activity is public, but the FBI, a hacker, or others can still gain access to your private information because the data is often traceable through internet records. And while you could use a proxy, it's just kind of difficult to surf and participate anonymously on the web. Who owns all of your information? Is it even ownable? The Facebook TOS attempts to claim ownership over your data. Whether or not this can be enforced is yet to be determined. When you knowingly or unknowingly agreed to Facebook's terms of service, i.e. when you created your Facebook page, you entered into a legal agreement granting those rights. But wait, what happened to copyright? If someone wishes to publish or make money from your work, they must enter into a negotiation with you. And if you want to, you can refuse. When you sign up with Facebook, do you want to give them blanket rights over everything you put there? What about music or literary rights, for example? If I write a poem and I put it on Facebook, am I giving away my rights, unwittingly, unknowingly? If Facebook becomes a publisher and includes this here work, do I have any recourse, legally, substantially? In most cases, you don't want to give away the rights to your intellectual property for free, and Facebook can make this distinction in the TOS. A lack of clarity could lead to all sorts of problems. I mean, what if the company sells? What if it goes bankrupt and dissolves? Or what if it changes? Other large platforms have put users at ease on this issue. Here's a chart. As you can see, when you use a web service, you give away all sorts of rights in exchange for taking part in the community. The company needs a certain amount of access to your content in order to make it available to others. Most of these services, however, allow you the option to exit the agreement, and once you do, you take your work and their rights to your work with you. It all boils down to nixay on the perpetuity. Once the perpetual clause is gone from any term, if you have the right to end at any time, you've greatly reduced your risk. Now, of course, once something hits the internet, you may never get it back, just by nature of it being the internet. But just because it's all over the internet doesn't give anyone the right to compete for and profit from your work. Whether or not they should be able to is another matter altogether. Some people advocate making all intellectual property free for anyone. We're not advocating anything today except for this. If you're going to publish your content online, and in so doing forego or share ownership, make sure that you have a termination clause. Just remember, if you can't get out, maybe you shouldn't get in the first place.